Great, thanks so much. And hello, VILNIUS. I'm Aba Schubert, co-founder and CEO of Dorae. It's fantastic to be here today, albeit virtually. And you know, it's strange times being here on a screen rather than in person. But in these strange times, we're all having to build new bridges to overcome challenges just like this. We're not seeing people. We can't get things the way we're used to. A lot of life is just a bit harder, though we're trying to get it back to normal. And just like everyone here today connects the dots to move things by rail and truck and vessel, crossing borders and getting the job done, Dorae connects the dots of information about our things, using technology to help transport work better, now and in the future. Because the world's a big place, with a lot of different ways of doing things. It's not simple. And over the last decades, advances in transportation have enabled industries to grow and scale far beyond their own borders. Nowadays, almost everything we use on a daily basis, from mobile phones to the shirt I'm wearing, is the fruit of long and complex supply chains. This ends up good for most people. We get the things we want for reasonable prices, and businesses can specialize, getting even better at what they do. But as we've seen over the last year and a half, the longer the supply chain, the more fragile it is. And the glue holding all of this together across the world, sometimes in several circles, is transport and logistics, keeping all the plates spinning in the air. Now we know that transportation is an inherently complex area because we're talking about different cargo types, many modes of transport, filling forms, crossing borders, loading, unloading, you name it, and sometimes having to change everything on a moment's notice because we hit a snag. To deal with all of this complexity, systems and norms and tools have evolved in a lot of different areas. We have documentation standards, custom single windows. We've got port community systems, logistics norms, large carrier systems. These are bubbles of organization where things line up well. They work. But they are islands, often not connected to each other. And crossing from one island to the next can be very tricky. Dorae is designed to bridge these gaps, large and small. Dorae is flexible enough to be used across different industries and with multiple counterparties who each have their own responsibilities and their own ways of doing things. For example, we have a use case with a port authority where they have a little gap in their port community system. It goes like this. When a truck arrives to take a container, they are not sure exactly which one it's authorized for. So when the truck arrives at the gate, they've got to talk with the driver, make some phone calls, see if he has any paperwork. The paperwork never looks the same. So it takes a good bit of time, and it's not the most reliable system. But with a simple workflow in Dorae, accessible to the gate operator, they have real-time verification from the freight forwarder and the carrier. This truck, this driver, that container, right there on the screen and burned to Dorae's private distributed ledger. So no one can take off with a cargo that isn't theirs. Getting a bit more complex, we've got here a large trading operation that uses Dorae. At any point in time, they have stock constantly arriving through multiple channels and several shipments on the way to customers. Sometimes they need to do a reroute. It can get messy. They use Dorae to monitor which inventory is in what warehouse, what's arriving, and what's on the way to customers. If a shipment's delayed, they can update the customer right away, and that makes a happy customer. And in the same Dorae workflow, they're capturing commercial data like inventory cost, sales terms, customer details. So while they're managing their logistics, they're also capturing the information they need to do things like monitor P&L, send stock reports to their accountants, and so on. Right in Dorae. A poet once said, "No man is an island." It's true. We need each other. We need to be connected. That can be difficult to achieve, especially now. Dorae can help connect the dots. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I was wondering if you could tell us, try to Google about the etymology of the name. Is that from a door?
No, it's actually a synthesized word. We didn't want it to really come from any particular history, and just to reflect, what we're doing as a business, which is something new.
Great, great, great. I'm screening the audience whether we see hands. So the question from a platform: how do you cope with the various regulations throughout the globe? I mean, not just in Europe, but elsewhere. And every jurisdiction has its own regulation, it has its own nuances. But how do you cope? And the Dorae as a company, because we might see it as the biggest challenge, I suppose, in the global supply chain.
Yeah. And I'd say for Dorae as a company in our own operations, we've managed to be very resilient, because even before the pandemic, we've had a global team. We have software engineers in Europe, in the US, for a while, even in Asia. And so we're used to working with each other virtually on internal video communication systems and through remotely accessible programming platforms. So for us, it hasn't been too difficult, other than not being able to be face-to-face with our users, our customers, because that's how we really learn what's needed and feed our product pipeline. And what we've seen from our user base is exactly what you mentioned: incredible difficulty dealing with this sudden fragmentation of rules. That was already a big challenge in a lot of transport and logistics. Every country has different rules for what's a hazardous material. You need different paperwork. Some people will accept a digital copy. Some people want an actual paper certificate with a seal. So already that was a big challenge, and something that our users are able to help with in Dorae by capturing digital documents, transmitting those very quickly, capturing the information to generate their own documents, whether those are packing lists, stuffing lists, things like that. But the rules of the pandemic, like you say, it's another layer of this. We especially have seen it, I'm less familiar with ground transport, but more familiar with maritime transport. And we've seen really just a huge level of suffering in seafarers who are stranded, not able to take shore leave, because of all of these rules, not just about the cargoes, but about the people, the staff who make it all happen. So I am very hopeful that there will be a lot of effort on a policy level to harmonize rules as quickly as possible, just to get us all moving again.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. I just remembered yesterday we had a presentation about Shift to Rail project and program, and I used this metaphor to the presenter that they're building a new physical internet. So it's pretty much the same with your product. You're basically building a new internet of, I don't know, moving things all around the globe. So best of luck for you for this product. And I think that patience and persistence we could wish. Thank you very much for being with us, and I hope you can stay for the rest of the day.